Dakota Fox News at 9 with Anna Schleisman and meteorologist Henry Blakes. Your first news of the night starts right now on West Dakota Fox News at 9.
A shooter in Williston prompted a shelter in place for schools and residents in the 1300 block of 9th Avenue West around 2:15 this afternoon. Parents were allowed to pick up their kids after police swept each school in turn. After a 5-hour manhunt, the suspect was finally arrested and the shelter in place was lifted around 7:30 this evening. Williston police have 23-year-old DeJounte Smith in custody in connection with the shootings, and he's no stranger to law enforcement. Back in February, he was charged with menacing. He was working at Albertsons supermarket where police say he threatened a customer with a pocket knife during what Smith described as a heated argument. Well, during the manhunt, 6 elementary schools and a middle school were in a code red lockdown from about 2:30 to 3:30 p.m. Students sat in classrooms with the lights off until they were told to wait for their parents in the gym. And for some, this wasn't the first time.
I was ready for it because last year we got sent down to the gym just like this year, and we ended up getting picked up by parents, but this year we actually had to stay in our classrooms because it was a code red.
Concerned parents waited outside and had to show a photo ID to pick up their children. One parent says she's pleased with how the district handled the situation.
I'm glad that the school locked down, I guess, because when a situation like that occurs, I'd rather that the school locks down than let our kids out and they're walking down the sidewalk and something happens.
Williston Public School District 1 posted to Facebook that following law enforcement and ensuring everyone's safety is always a priority. Well, looking forward to the weekend. Will it be rain or shine, Henry?
Yeah, we'll see how that goes. It's definitely going to be chilly for certain, and there will be a chance of showers. Already chance of showers moving into north central North Dakota and the northwestern region and northeastern Montana. Taking a closer look, notice some showers pushing into portions of Renville County, much of that in Williston, not even reaching the ground, but you got some showers in northern Roosevelt County. All of this will continue to push east. The rain chances will remain in the forecast for residents along Highway 2, but that's only about 20 to 30% as pushes into drier air. Temperatures right now have fallen into the mid to upper 50s for your Saturday morning commute. Another round of showers possible for the Williston area. Elsewhere, we're talking about a rather cloudy sky and a bit chilly with returning chance of showers Saturday afternoon. More details on your weekend forecast later on.
The 2002 legal challenge to the Northwest Area Water Supply Project appears to have ended. The NOS project, when completed, will bring water from the Missouri River to Minot and surrounding counties in northwest North Dakota. Missouri and Manitoba filed suit years ago. Manitoba filed for safety concerns but later dropped the suit. And Missouri worried the project would deplete the river too much. Attorney General Wayne Stenhjem said this morning that the D.C. Circuit Court ruled in favor of North Dakota and the Bureau of Reclamation. And as the Missouri River continues to rise and threaten towns and states downstream, Senator John Hoeven still wants to ensure the Army Corps of Engineers have our best interests in mind as well.
They have to make sure that they have enough margin so that we don't have flooding in the upstream states on the Missouri River.
Senator Hoeven's main concern is about possible late spring rains that might push the river to flood stage here.
Versus the cost of production just aren't adding up right now, and crops and corn and everything is exactly the same way. Prices are down, but expenses are way up, so sometimes the bottom line just doesn't match up.
Farmers and ranchers have been struggling to make ends meet. The National Farmers Union said chronic oversupply and depressed prices have plagued the dairy industry. Midwest Dairy echoed these issues, but also emphasized the impact of the trade wars.
To give you an idea of how influential trade is on the American dairy business, you can basically, rule of thumb is 1 day out of every week, America's dairy farms and dairy cows are working for consumers outside of the United States.
Producers can apply for a variety of assistance programs through Midwest Dairy. Well, to help relieve producers facing bankruptcy amid the farm economy slump, Congressman Kelly Armstrong helped introduce the Family Farmer Relief Act. It would expand the debt cap covered under Chapter 12 bankruptcy from $3.2 million to $10 million. The change reflects increased land values and average size of U.S. farming operations. It aims to give farmers more options to manage the downturn in the farm economy. And broadband access is vital for ag producers, as well as healthcare, education, and economic development as a whole. All three members of our congressional delegation are urging the FCC to invest in improving broadband mapping in North Dakota and across the country.
So we need these better maps from the FCC so that we can see where the gaps are and make sure that we get broadband coverage in those areas.
They say this will help identify the areas that need it the most to efficiently use federal funding. And now that the legislative session is over, lawmakers are reflecting on their accomplishments. Some say they're happy the state is in a better financial position. They've increased the amount of money for K-12 funding to help rapidly growing school districts by paying for more students already in the system. They also funded the Theodore Roosevelt Presidential Library, infrastructure, and flood protection for Fargo and Minot.
We certainly got to invest in programs that we haven't been able to over the last two bienniums. And because of that, I think North Dakota is going to be stronger. Our economy is growing. Our forecast looks good.
Dickinson Senator Rich Wardner says the state also needs to invest in and promote more research in energy and agriculture. Well, North Dakota is about to invest $33 million into the state's unmanned aircraft systems industry. $28 million will be used to build infrastructure to support operations to fly drones beyond visual line of sight. Another $3 million will help with upgrades at Grand Sky. That's the country's first UAS business park. And the remaining $2 million will support operations at a test site in Grand Forks, where the FAA has authorized drones to be flown without chase planes. This brings the state's total UAS development investment to about $77 million. State leaders will attend a ceremonial bill signing on Monday morning. And the IRS is requesting public comment on rules for implementing carbon capture tax credits, an effort led by Senator Kevin Cramer. He says this has the ability to incentivize private investment in vital technology and storage techniques to help reduce fossil fuel emissions. However, for it to work properly, it must be applicable to producers across the nation, not just a select few. Well, the director of the Driver's License Division of the North Dakota Department of Transportation tendered his resignation today. The DOT says Glenn Jackson had been placed on administrative leave in February, pending the outcome of a workplace investigation after he was accused of favoritism and harassment. Jackson denies allegations and says he planned to retire next year, but pushed it up as he didn't want the department to have to deal with this issue. And the Bismarck teen accused of shooting at a 27-year-old woman during a reported drug deal gone wrong is set to stand trial on June 18th. 16-year-old Daquan Smith will have a bond reduction hearing next week. He's charged with attempted murder. And trials have been scheduled in adult court for the three teenagers accused of assaulting officers at the Youth Correctional Center in January. 17-year-old Elijah Bars is scheduled to appear next Tuesday. The trials for 17-year-olds Starson Buckles and Gavin Johnson are scheduled for July 10th. Police say they assaulted guards and stole their keys in an attempt to escape from YCC. And the trial for the former Bismarck police officer suing the Department for Gender Discrimination is set for January of 2021. Robin Kreil was fired in March of 2017 for claims she lied in investigation reports and couldn't be used as a prosecution witness. The case was dismissed, but Kreil claims she's had trouble finding a new job since her file still says she is untrustworthy. She filed a federal suit against the city of Bismarck and BPD Chief Dan Donlin in January. And following up on another case, the state's attorney's office is reviewing the assault of 7 correctional officers at the state penitentiary in January. The Department of Corrections conducted its own investigation and turned the results over to Burleigh County. We are waiting comment from state's attorney Julie Lawyer. Mark Hagerott, the chancellor of North Dakota's university system, says he's hoping to name a replacement for outgoing UND President Mark Kennedy by the end of the year. He's planning to present a list of interim president candidates to the State Board of Higher Education this month. Hagerott also said he felt bad for Kennedy as Colorado students protested his appointment as president of the University of Colorado system.
We want to be good partners with President Kennedy. I mean, Colorado is very popular, close proximity to North Dakota. You know, Western Interstate Commission's out of there. I could see this partnership being very important going forward. And it was unfortunate how he was treated.
Hagerott anticipates a lot of interest in the job, given the university's advancement in areas from law and medicine to their sports program. Well, on April 19th, a Sun Country passenger plane hit a large bird while approaching the Bismarck airport. It did land safely, but has been grounded ever since. A repair team from Boeing has been on site working on the plane, and the company hoped to have it back in the air by now, but think it won't be ready until next week. A replacement plane was used to fly passengers the rest of the way to their final destination of Laughlin, Nevada. Bismarck Mandan has a chance to recognize their hidden hometown heroes in an online vote this month. John Selling introduces us to two of the nominees.
One of the heroes is Suba Coles, director of the Central Dakota Humane Society. The organization has been working in the area for more than 60 years and at their shelter since 1994 to improve the lives of area dogs and cats.
I would not call myself a hero. I would call myself fortunate that I have found a career that I love to go to work every day, and I do think we do good work and make a difference.
Bismarck and Mandan residents nominated people they thought should be recognized, and the list has been narrowed down to 18 heroes for people to vote on. But what makes a hero?
People in every community that do a lot behind the scenes just to make it, working hard to make it better for either people or animals.
I think is just somebody that goes above and beyond and gives their 100% to improve the lives of others.
A second nominee is Katie Oakland with TR for Heart and Soul. The organization helps people with disabilities by working with horses.
We try to utilize the horses to make their life better. I know that horses have always been a huge part of my life, and I know what they've done for me, so we're just doing what we can to help others out using what we have.
To see the rest of the heroes and vote, go to the website on the screen and pick your top 3. In Bismarck, I'm John Salling for your news leader.
Well, 6 final heroes will be chosen and honored at Larks games throughout this season. We've been talking about the crisis in Venezuela, but what exactly does it mean for us in the U.S.? Find out after the break.
And we're looking at our Minot Skywatch camera. Got some showers to the north. Slight chance of showers this evening, but get ready for a chilly weekend. We'll be back in just a couple of minutes.
Venezuela's political crisis is now moving to the forefront in Washington. From a White House call to Russia to a Pentagon meeting where the acting Secretary of Defense says all options are on the table. Emily Schmidt has more on what that may mean.
For the first time in months, President Trump and Russian President Vladimir Putin talked by phone Friday.
I had a very good talk with President Putin, probably over an hour. And we talked about many things. Venezuela was one of the topics. We want to get some humanitarian aid. Right now, people are starving. They have no water. They have no food.
The United Nations Human Rights Office says at least 5 people died in protests this week as embattled President Nicolas Maduro faces an uprising led by opposition leader Juan Guaido.
It is their overarching duty to ensure the protection of the people of Venezuela.
The Venezuelan power struggle is causing tensions between Washington and Moscow. The Kremlin supports Maduro, while the White House recognizes Guaido as the interim president.
This is our hemisphere. It's not where the Russians ought to be interfering.
After a Friday meeting of the president's national security team at the Pentagon, acting Secretary of Defense Patrick Shanahan said off camera the team is looking at options for U.S. intervention in Venezuela. When asked could that include naval deployment, he answered all options are comprehensive, but there is a lot of water nearby. Meanwhile, opposition leader Juan Guaido says there will be more protests Saturday and that they will continue to grow peacefully. I'm Emily Schmidt reporting.
Well, President Trump said he also discussed trade, the Mueller report, and denuclearization with President Putin. The president emphasized that we have been spending billions on nuclear weapons, but so has Russia. So nuclear deal is important. There were even talks of a 3-way agreement with China.
During the trade talks, we started talking about that. They were excited about that, maybe even more excited than about trade. But they felt very strongly about it. So I think we're going to probably start up something very shortly between Russia and ourselves, maybe to start off, and I think China will be added down the road.
On the Mueller report, the president says Putin knew there wasn't any collusion and called it a mountain that turned into a mouse. In the meantime, House Judiciary Chairman Jerry Nadler sent a new letter to Attorney General William Barr, insisting that the unredacted Mueller report be released by Monday morning, or they'll hold Barr in contempt. Barr was supposed to testify before the committee yesterday, but didn't show up, as they had planned to have a lawyer question him. Now that prompted many top Democrats to call for Barr's resignation, including House Speaker Nancy Pelosi. In the midst of serious impeachment talks, Pelosi says she's tried to listen and honor the constitutional separation of power, but says he's misrepresenting facts and lying to protect not only the president, but their so-called special interests.
So understand the connection between his agenda, his arrogance, his misrepresentation, and how it affects the lives of people. Nothing less than the air their children breathe and the water they drink.
Pelosi's comments coming just one day after she said beginning impeachment proceedings would be, quote, the easy way out for Republicans. Well, will it be nice enough to spend some time outside finally, Henry?
A little bit chilly over the weekend, but we will gradually warm up, but we've got some work to do there. But hey, right quick, I'd like to reach out to our viewers in Lansford, North Dakota, in Bottineau County. Just want to let you know that the National Weather Service will be holding a free Skywarn meeting this coming Monday, May 6th at 6:30 in the evening, and that's going to be held in the community room. That address is 732 Main Street in Lansford. So if you'd like to learn about severe weather in and around the Lansford area, this is free and you are welcome to attend. Speaking of which, we've got showers on First Warn Sky Tracker Doppler radar in and around the Williston area. Not much of that reaching the grounds. The atmosphere is still a bit too dry, but let's take a little closer look across north central North Dakota. Some of this reaching the ground in and around Sherwood, Antler, in between Bowbells, Lignite, Noonan, especially over Wild Rose and the Powers Lake area into Tioga. Some light showers coming down. Williston, much of that not reaching the ground, but those rain chances are still going to remain in the forecast for you. Also, we're talking about northeastern Montana, mainly from Floyd into northern Roosevelt County, mostly north of Montana Highway 2, and that continues into the Glasgow area. So this will continue to push south and east for tonight, all associated with a cold front, and some of those rain chances are going to gradually decrease as we lose daytime heating, but can't rule out a shower or two for the Minot area. Behind the cold front, cooler temperatures on the way for the weekend and next week. But for highs today, this was rather nice. We were in mostly the mid-60s across the First Warn viewing area. Now we're at 61 in Minot, 59 for Bismarck. So all around, we have mostly 50, so temperatures continue to cool down. The wind settling down just a bit as well out of the south between 5 and 10 miles per hour. So here's that cold front. Let's go ahead to your Saturday morning, and it's mostly going to be out of the viewing area by then. However, we are going to be having increasing cloud cover and chance for some showers across the west to start. And then some of you across the west may get a temporary break, but then we get a little more instability region-wide for the second half of your Saturday, so we can't rule out a few more showers. Otherwise, we are talking about chilly conditions across all of the First Warn viewing area. As we head into your Saturday night Sunday, here's disturbance number 2, bringing us a chance of rain and snow showers across the west, especially along the interstate, along Highway 200 into far southwestern North Dakota. That continues to push east for your Sunday afternoon, giving you rain chance across the south central region. But as far as accumulation for now, not expecting much, and much of it is going to melt anyway. Temperatures for now into middle May are going to remain below normal. So for tonight, we're talking about morning lows coming down into the 30s, at least above freezing. That's the good news. But notice our highs for tomorrow will only be in the upper 40s, and that's the wrong graphic, excuse me for that, but we will be at least in the upper 40s and low 50s for tomorrow. Looking at the week ahead, not much improvement, but maybe a little bit of relief, Anna, by the end of next week.
Sounds good, Henry. Well, the end of AIDS spreading may be near. I'll tell you of a breakthrough when we come back. Well, a lawsuit against opioid distributor McKesson ended in a settlement, which was not a win for the plaintiff, West Virginia. The lawsuit was filed in 2016 and accused McKesson of shipping millions of suspicious orders for painkillers to the state with no effort to prevent illegal diversion, which they denied, and then settled for $37 million. State officials saying it's the most horrific deal they've ever heard.
To think that they would sell out the state of West Virginia to McKesson, who sent millions and millions of pills to the state of West Virginia and under a business plan that brought death and destruction to our state. This is a company that did $208 billion last year in revenue.
The estimated annual cost for West Virginia to deal with the opioid crisis is $8.8 billion a year. And now that the opioid battle is raging against these pharmaceutical companies in the courtroom, there was a win. Top executives of Insys Therapeutics, that makes a version of the extremely powerful synthetic opioid fentanyl, were found guilty of racketeering yesterday. They were convicted on federal charges for bribing doctors to prescribe the painkiller Subsys to people who didn't need it, as well as defrauding Medicare and private insurance. They plan to appeal but face up to 20 years in prison each. And a huge breakthrough in AIDS research. A new British study found an antiretroviral drug may stop the HIV infection from spreading. Researchers studied nearly 1,000 gay couples in 75 sites across 14 European countries from 2010 to 2017 and found the drug suppressed the infection to the point that the transmission risk was 0. And the biggest storm in 2 decades may impact millions. Details next. The strongest cyclone in 20 years hit India today, threatening 200 million people in Bangladesh and the surrounding area. Tropical cyclone Fani lashed the country with 150-mile-per-hour winds. Flights canceled and hundreds of cyclone shelter centers were opened, and Army and Air Force units have been put on standby. Hopefully we won't have winds like that this weekend, Henry.
Yeah, thankfully not, but it is going to be chilly. Slight chance of a few showers for some of us Saturday and then again on Sunday. But if you don't get the showers, we're definitely going to feel the chill into at least the middle of next week before we somewhat improve by next Thursday.
All right, well, at least it's not snowing.
Yes.
Thanks so much. Have a good night.